my gosh, what a crowd. I didn't even say anything, and you guys already stopped talking. That was helpful. Okay, so everyone follows instructions incredibly, which is going to be great for this workshop because it's going to be a lot of instructions here. Everything will be step by step, of course. Before we get started, I'd love to know more about you guys, what you're using AI for and where you're at with it. So I'll just ask a few questions. If it's relevant to you, I'll just have you raise your hand. How many of you are here to use AI better for your business? Okay, literally every single person. Wow, okay. I was not expecting that. And how many of you here are already using AI on a regular basis? Let's say every single day. Okay, well, how about someone only using it like a few times a week and they know they should use it more, but they're not? Okay, all right, so everyone has a business. Okay, everyone's using it pretty much every single day. And you can just shout out here, what are the use cases that you're using it for? Is it marketing, operations, workflows, automations, creating presentations? What are you using them for? Feel free to just shout it out.
Presentation, strategy.
Cool. Presentation, strategy. Coding. Cool. Yeah, okay, that one makes sense. Interesting. Does anyone here use it as a thought partner or a strategist in their business to just make decisions, get some feedback, essentially asking it like, hey, is this a good idea or is this the worst idea ever? You guys using it that way? Yeah, for sure. A little bit. Interesting. And then who's using ChatGPT primarily? Okay. Claude primarily? Interesting. All right. And then like Gemini? Okay. Okay, you guys, it's way too early for drama like that, all right? We have to save that for the nighttime events. Awesome. All right. So in this case, because you're all business owners, you're looking to use this as an operator making decisions in your business. This is going to be perfect for all of you. So a little background here. My name is Ava. I started out as a freelance writer in 2016 just by Googling how to make money writing online. The first thing that popped up was Upwork, and I was off to the races from there. I spent 2016 to 2022 working as a marketing writer, working for companies like Shopify, Zapier, ConvertKit. And then in 2023, I decided to promote myself. I became a marketer, and I worked with a marketing agency for financial advisors, where we built out paid media funnels that brought in $3 million of qualified leads for those financial advisors, as well as helping grow the Why We Buy newsletter to 50,000 subscribers and Forbes recognition. This was all really fun, and I absolutely loved all of it. But if you'll notice, 2023 is when AI started to get pretty good. And I started using it more and more in my writing jobs, and I started to say, I think this is going to be bigger than just using it as like a side helper. I want to go all in on this. This is really interesting. And I could kind of tell, all right, it's pretty good today. If it's constantly compounding on the learning and it's only getting more data as more people are using it, this is going to get pretty serious pretty quickly. So I ended up in 2023, stopped working with marketing clients and started just using AI every single day and trying to figure out, how does this thing work? And that to me meant, what does it need from me to give me what I need every single time? How do I create it so it's always giving me the response that I'm looking for? Because around this time is when you would type in like marketing strategy and it would give you something super generic and you knew it could be better, but you didn't know how to get it there. So I started to recognize, okay, this is a me thing. As the human, it's up to me to prompt AI exactly as it needs to be prompted to give me what I need from it. So I started Think with AI, which shows business owners and operators how to turn ChatGPT into their business strategist, advisor, and thought partner. So I do AI consulting one-on-one with business owners, and I also have do-it-yourself playbooks for specific jobs to be done in your business. For example, how to write with AI, how to market with AI, the Newsletter Operators AI Playbook. This is broken up into the 4 parts of operating a newsletter. The Data-Driven Decision Playbook, how to index information in ChatGPT Playbook, which shows you how to index information and have ChatGPT accurately bring that information up again in the future. And then the Deep Research Playbook, which is what we're going to go through today. So, when you research, the key here is that you're not just looking for answers, right? We tend to go into research when we are trying to make a decision, we're trying to solve a problem, we're trying to move forward on something. And that research ends up stalling if we actually don't know what we're looking to ask. So what we want to do is figure out what will actually move me forward before we even start asking the question. We want to be organized with our thinking to say, this is what it is that I need from deep research right now, so that I know I get the answer I want instead of running this whole thing and then realizing that wasn't that helpful. We're also looking to make sure that we don't get scattered results. So a lot of the time what we are experiencing now in this like ultimate software age is like everything is everywhere. I have my Apple Notes has some stuff, my Notion has other stuff, ChatGPT has other stuff, Slack has something else. And the issue is that all of that spread across all these platforms means that it's not talking to each other. Of course, I can assume this will be a problem that will be solved pretty soon, but being able to have as much context as possible in just ChatGPT allows us to start to do better research in the future because we're asking better questions. And then again, we tend to lose what it is that we found. So maybe you did deep research already. I'm sure that you have. When was the last time that you used that information? We tend to be like, oh, okay, well, now moving on to the next thing. I don't know what that was. I got to come back to it later. And we don't use it again. What we want to start doing is being able to have that deep research organize itself, bring itself up again in the future so that you're not just running this one query and walking away, but being able to run it and have ChatGPT say to you in 2 weeks from now, well, that deep research that you ran showed this, so that could be helpful right now. And then lastly, we just don't apply things, right? We do the deep research. We're like, okay, cool, that was interesting. But like whatever I have to do involving that is such a big open loop that I don't even want to open it yet. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. What I'm going to teach you today is being able to take action specifically on that research that you found so that you come out with like a tangible result, whether that's a to-do list or something to send to your team. So what's exciting here is that all of these problems of having this scattered information, not knowing what to ask, all of these things can be solved, right? What we want to do is have deep research, or I should say ChatGPT specifically, help us think, most importantly, search, store, and apply the insights that we're going to find today, which is why we're having you bring your laptop so that we can actually go through this workshop and you'll walk out with something helpful. So because you're looking for application, we want to ask better questions. We want to find the best insights from multiple sources. Deep research will take care of that for us. We want to store its findings in the memory, which ChatGPT will take care of for us. And then we want to apply what we've learned, which ChatGPT can semi-help us with, but we'll, of course, have to take the reins and move certain things forward on our own. And so here's what's exciting. Because we want to use this information in the future as it becomes relevant in our business, inside ChatGPT, we get to store what we find. So AI will remember these key takeaways. It will also be able to use past context to help us figure out how should we use deep research today, based on where my business is today, based on the decisions we have to make today. And then, of course, we're going to turn those insights into action. And what gets me the most excited about deep research is that it is inside of ChatGPT. Why I love ChatGPT is because it has memory across conversations. When we look at when we look at AI, the number one thing it needs from us is data. It needs context to understand the situation, and that's when it's able to give us exactly what we want back. As a general rule, if you're ever using AI and it's not giving you the answers you want, or it's giving you a generic response, you did not give it enough context. And so what's going to be really cool about this is that as you keep using deep research in your business, and even this one query that you'll run today, you're giving ChatGPT more context on you, your business, what you're working on, how it should think about your business, and the connections it can make for you in the future, which gets really exciting because it starts to move us towards a place where all these notes and ideas and frameworks we want to use and lessons that we've learned can all live in one account that then is able to, on its own, decide, oh, these are connections that should be made that you haven't seen yet. Oh, you want to work on pricing? Well, you uploaded a pricing model 3 months ago. You can use that today. And we can start to have like this living, breathing project management that helps us not only to get things done in our businesses, but to be able to challenge us and make us better business owners. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to break this down into 3 steps. Step 1 is going to be how to think about deep research, because this is a Think with AI workshop. We're going to have to add a little bit of a Think with AI spin here. What we'll do in the how to think about deep research part is figure out, 1, if you have something you want to deep research, you're like, this is exactly what I want to do, that's great. But again, we want to use AI as an advisor, a strategist, and a thought partner. We're not just using it as the software where we input and it outputs. We want to say, what do you think? Because you have context, you have data. What's your opinion on this? What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? What are creative ways of using this that I haven't thought of? So we're going to put ChatGPT to work first to make sure to tell us, hey, here's other options of what you could do. Second part, we'll run deep research. While we're doing this, we'll do a live Q&A so that we can let the deep research get situated. And then once that's done and the deep research is completed, we'll start to put it into action so that when you walk away, you have a conversation that's ready to go to say, all right, here's what I'm going to do with this information specific to my business, specific to the context of what's going on, and that's specific to the decision or the ideas or how I need to use this information. All right, so the basics here really quickly, depending on how new you all are to ChatGPT, you can choose your data sharing preferences inside if you don't want to share your data with OpenAI. So if you want to do that, here's some quick instructions here. If you haven't set that up before, if you're open to sharing it, that's fine. And then if there's any, it seems like everyone's using ChatGPT already, so we're all in the know. But if you are just opening it for the first time here, making sure that your memory is enabled. Memory is the name of the game in ChatGPT because it is the context that it is going to use to be able to turn into a strategist, advisor, and thought partner so that you don't have to tell it every single time all of that context. No way. It's 2025. It should remember all of that, and it should remember the conversation I had today, 6 months ago, and be able to bring all of that information into today's conversation. So step 1 here for everyone with a laptop is that you're going to open a new conversation in ChatGPT. Note here not to open it inside of a project because the deep research function isn't inside of projects yet. You can always put that conversation into a project afterwards. And if there's a conversation you've already had and I'm gonna have you just open a new one. So everyone just open up that new conversation. If anyone has any issues, let me know, happy to help. And first what we're going to do is start to come up with interesting ideas of what you can use deep research for. Because again, in the Think with AI world, we put AI to work here as a thought partner. So we're not just saying, hey, here's the input, give me the output. We're saying, what do you think I should do? Where are you seeing ways that we could use this that I'm not right now? So what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna give you a link to all of these prompts in a second, we're going to go through the initial prompt here. You're just going to choose one prompt based on how much you use ChatGPT. So we have prompt 1 means you do not use it at all, and it needs all the context in the world on what you're up to, what you're thinking, and what you do. You'll use prompt 2 if you semi-use ChatGPT, but you also use a lot of other AI platforms, so it doesn't know everything about your business and what you're up to. And you'll use prompt 3 if you use ChatGPT every single day, all day long, you have your memory enabled, and it has a ton of context on what you're working on, how you think, and what you're looking to get out of your business right now. So you'll go to thinkwithai.com/deep research. And there you're going to see those 3 prompts in the very first section. I'm going to have you go through and find the relevant prompt based on how often you're using ChatGPT. You're going to copy the prompt and put it into that new chat conversation. Now, note here, you are not going to click deep research yet. We're going to wait to click that after we've given ChatGPT context on what we're working on, because I'm trying to control the variables here and make sure deep research doesn't just start moving first. So if you have any issues over there, let me know. So this is what you should be looking at right now. And again, this is prompt 1. Everything in the green is what you're going to copy and paste into that new ChatGPT conversation. Once you've done that, you can hit enter, again, making sure that the deep research button isn't clicked. I'm referring to this button right here. Do not have that clicked yet. And depending on where you're at, how often you're using ChatGPT, you're just going to choose the most relevant prompt, hit enter, and start that conversation. So the goal here is to have ChatGPT start telling you interesting ways to use deep research, because we always put ChatGPT to work for us. If you have any issues, just let me know. If you have any questions about which prompt you should use, just let me know. And if at any point you feel like the prompt is continuing on and you're kind of ready to move on, you can always tell it that. If it keeps asking context questions and you're like, you know what, I just want to keep going, that's totally fine, and you can do that. So I'll give you guys a second here so that you can think through the questions it's asking. So as you copy and paste that prompt into a new conversation, you're going to read the output that it gives you, because what it's giving you is ideas about how to use deep research and ways to use it based on the context it has on your business. So if you're using prompt 1, for example, it's not going to give you any ideas, but instead start to say, tell me about yourself, give me some data, give me the context I need to be able to move you forward on this deep research. If you're using prompt 3, it's going to go all the way down to step 3 and say, which one of these do you want to use? What seems aligned? Are none of them aligned? How do you want to take this? So once you're at a point where you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I want to use this, you'll pause there for now, and then we'll all just get that deep research situated in a second. If you feel really confident about it and you're ready to go, you can start that deep research process. So to start that, you're just going to click the deep research button and then tell ChatGPT, I'm ready to do this. It may ask you a few more questions. It may just go and get it done right away. And you'll be able to start to see a little like window will pop up within your chat where it's starting to think back, or it's starting to do that research for you. So if you are ready to do that, go ahead, click that deep research button, say, I'm ready to do the deep research, answer any questions that it has if it asks them, or it might just get started and start doing that research for you. Yes, so before you click deep research, you should have worked back and forth with ChatGPT to say, yeah, this is the one that I want to use, because it's going to give you a few options. We want to be really clear to say option C, for example, is the one I want to go with, or I don't want to go with any of the ones that you said. I actually want to go with this one specific one. If you have any questions, just raise your hand and I can come over and help. There's no question too small. If it isn't even related to the workshop and it's just like a billing thing or anything, just let me know, because we can definitely work through it. Who is running deep research right now? And or ran it and it's already done? Okay. Done? Okay, perfect. You're running it. Okay. No worries. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're all on the same page a bit here. What we can do now is, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. Again, Think with AI focuses on using AI as that strategist, advisor, and thought partner. So any questions around that, I'm happy to answer. Anything that you just want to ask as well, I'm happy to give it my best shot here. So let me know if you have any questions. If you're still running into any issues, of course, too, I can come over and help out as well. Happy to do that.
Yeah, so my question is, in terms of the backend, how does it like differ? Like, what's the difference between like a regular question when you ask, and is it just the number of sources, or it's like, because obviously it's taking a lot longer, I can assume that it's doing more work and deeper work, but like, maybe a little bit of mathematically or in terms of the model, what's the difference? I would like to know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so the deep research is running like a web search, which you can do in ChatGPT already. There is that web search option. But in this case, what it's doing is essentially acting like a consultant. Let's say you brought in a consultant to say, hey, I want you to figure out the trends in the housing market for 2025 and what they mean for 2026. It's kind of like hiring McKinsey and coming in and saying, hey, I want you to figure out this very specific thing that will be helpful for me in my business. The pro here is that McKinsey charges, $250,000 probably minimum, where deep research is available to you for $20, and you get 10 of them every single month. And then as your deep research starts to finish up, just let me know so I have a gauge on it. Once we have about 2/3 of everyone finished with that deep research, I'll come over and help you in a sec. Then we can get started. I'll show you the next prompt to put in that will essentially just set up this conversation for you after this workshop so you can continue to use this and it doesn't just sit there and not get used. We want to put ChatGPT to work to make sure that it's using this information for us. Has anyone's deep research finished? Ooh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. All right, we'll wait for a few more here. And then we'll get started. Again, as a reminder, after you put that prompt in, you're going to look at what ChatGPT said. You're going to read through its response because what it has in there is creative ways that you can use deep research. And it's going to ask you which one of these would you like to use? Do you want to use a mix of two of them? And then once you know which one, that's when you can highlight it and say, oh, I want to do the one on housing trends for 2025. Click the deep research button. It's going to ask you a few more questions and then it will get started. So a good way of looking at this is to say that there's two parts to the way that you're going to run deep research today. And I would suggest doing this like 80% of the time. The other 20% will be when you know exactly what you want to deep research and there's a specific job to be done that you're looking for and you don't need ChatGPT's help. But if you do want its help, you can look at it in two parts. Part one is you're using those prompts that I gave you to essentially hire ChatGPT as your business strategist. You're saying, I want you to work back and forth with me to figure out who I should hire to consult on this topic in my business. I want to figure out what I should tell them to do. I'm not quite sure yet. Once you've figured that out, that's when you say, okay, cool, ChatGPT, my amazing business strategist, told me that I should focus on housing market trends of 2025. That would be well aligned for my business. Now I'm going to click the deep research button and hire my consultant to do that research. Now ChatGPT is going to say, cool, I'm hired for the job. I have a few questions to make sure I do the job right. And that's when you'll start to say, okay, cool, here's the logistics of what that deep research should focus on. Now we're going to do that. So you can look at it as those two parts. First, you have your strategist that's helping you get aligned to say, all right, let's go this way with this. And then you have your consultant that's actually doing the groundwork and actually doing that research for you. So how are we doing now? Who has their, yeah? Okay, we've got a few more. All right, I'll wait a few more minutes here. While we're waiting, I would love to know if anyone has found a cool AI software recently that you are obsessed with and you're really excited about. I know we have Gamma.ai back there for the presentations. I've been playing around with that one as well. It's pretty cool. Anything else exciting? Or are you guys keeping it a secret? Yeah.
So I prefer Claude, especially for writing. I just find it's just better. I find the output superior generally. I like its tone of voice. Its personality is warmer. It feels more human. I like the way that you kind of jam with it and the artifacts and so on. And I just find for writing specifically, I don't know, maybe it's just a personal preference, but what is yours as a writer as well?
So I completely agree with you. Claude is an incredible writer, but here's the thing. Claude is a great writer with less context. ChatGPT is an incredible writer. It just needs more context. So you can get ChatGPT to give you the output that Claude would, just takes a little bit more legwork.
Right.
Claude just helps you out a little bit more and just adds that in without needing as much context.
Yeah,
But
even when you use projects, for instance, when you just upload your tone of voice and like
Projects in
instructions.
ChatGPT or
No,
Claude?
in Claude.
Yes. So the thing about Claude is that it tends to attract people that want to write because it doesn't need as much context to get them started to give something good. So a lot of people tend to say, okay, Claude is a much better writer than ChatGPT. And depending on how you're looking at it, you could say that is true. But ChatGPT, if you give it a bit more context, it can write just as well as Claude. So when it comes to writing, you can absolutely use ChatGPT. Now, where I start to really push ChatGPT is saying, I want all my AI conversations in one place. I don't want them fragmented because now Claude knows about this post that I wrote. Now when I'm talking in ChatGPT about a decision I'm trying to make or my marketing strategy or content strategy, it doesn't know about that. I want it all together all the time. That's what made me realize, okay, cool. How do I get ChatGPT to be the ultimate writer? That's actually what sparked me to write the How to Index Information in ChatGPT playbook, because what I found was that I would put information into ChatGPT and say, these are my writing rules, this is my writing voice, this is the pain points of my customers, this is what we need to use to write, and it wouldn't bring it up accurately. And what I realized is I was not being clear enough to ChatGPT when I was referencing that information again and initially indexing it. So that is what becomes really helpful, is starting to understand that skill set. Now, again, if you want to use Claude to write because it's just easier, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, of course. Great question. All right, how are we doing with the deep research? Who has finished? Final ask. Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to part 3 here, which is going to be on that same page, thinkwithai.com/deep research. You'll see 3, turn deep research into action. Again, you're going to copy and paste the prompt into the same conversation you just had with ChatGPT that has the deep research in it. Make sure deep research isn't clicked. Again, we're going back to ChatGPT as our strategist and advisor, not ChatGPT, our consultant. When it's our consultant, we're clicking that deep research and saying, hey, go out into the world and find this information. We're popping back to the original use case of it. And so we're not going to click that deep research button. You'll copy and paste that prompt into ChatGPT. The prompt you're copying and pasting, it's everything in green here. And what you'll have now is your action items and the way that you can start to use this. Now, this is just the start of that conversation, and I'll let you have that conversation after this workshop one-on-one with it when you have the time to go through and start to really situate what it is you want to do with this information. But this will at least get you started on that so that this conversation is ready to go when you are after the workshop. So if you have any questions about this, just let me know. But you'll copy and paste that in, and then you're going to read what ChatGPT says to you in order to start situating what you're going to do with that deep research information. So you'll see here in the prompt, what you're going to do once you copy and paste it, you'll see ChatGPT respond to you. It's going to respond with a bulleted summary of your deep research finding. It's going to tell you one of the most surprising or unexpected insights that it found during the research to kind of just pull that out, help you start thinking a bit about, oh, that's interesting. That's something we could do something with. It's also going to tell you the most practical and useful insights related to your original goal. And now it's going to give you a list of action items based on that deep research and your original conversation being when you initially put that prompt into ChatGPT and said, kind of help me out here. What are creative angles I can use deep research for? Welcome. And then from there in step 3, it's going to ask you to pick option A to refine or expand on a specific insight, or option B to start implementing one of the actions right away. This is what you're going to pause on for now and come back to later when you have time to say, okay, I do want to expand on one of those insights, and going back and forth with ChatGPT to get that expansion, or to be able to say, hey, it's time to take up some action. Let's figure out what that action is. So the goal of this workshop now is to kind of leave you with that conversation so you're ready to pick it up when you're ready in the future. When you say, all right, cool. I've got my cappuccino, I have my lo-fi music on, and I'm ready to think about this action or start working on implementing some of this stuff. So once you all have that, let me know. All right, so you should all be at this step where you see step 3, choose your next step. This is where you're gonna pause. We're gonna end the workshop here because this is when I want you to take time to think with AI and to say, okay, what is the next step? What do I wanna do with this information? Is this information just a platform to get more information? Is it actually something I need to take action items on and I need to say X, Y, and Z needs to get done based on this information? Is it information that needs to be put into a document to say I need to send this to my team or I need to upload it into ChatGPT? Or not upload it, but tell ChatGPT, hey, this is this information. And so we'll leave it paused here for now. And what you'll do in the future when you're ready, hopefully today, you hop back in and you start moving forward on that conversation. And so the way I want you to look at this workshop is that it is a playbook. It's a step-by-step guide of how you can use deep research in the future, with the goal being that at the very start, you're always using prompt 3, where it knows a ton about your business and you've genuinely turned AI into that strategic thought partner, advisor, and strategist for your business that can help you to say, hey, here's interesting ways that you could use deep research today. Here are the things that would be interesting to hire that consultant for. Again, that consultant being deep research itself. So we broke deep research down into 3 parts today. Part 1 is how to think about deep research. What are ways I can use AI to help me think better about using this feature? Part 2, how to run deep research. That one's pretty easy, right? And then step 3, which we'll go through later, is turning deep research into action. But there are 2 more parts that that will help you take what you researched and start to apply it. So part 4 is turning deep research into custom instructions in your account, projects, and tasks. Inside ChatGPT, you can create projects that house different conversations. You can also create custom instructions in those projects. And then you can also start to build out tasks that ChatGPT either reminds you to do or helps you do over time. And what we want to do is use that deep research accordingly when it's relevant. So if you just did a bunch of deep research on your ideal customer, we want to say, hey, ChatGPT, in the marketing project, here's the custom instructions of what our ideal customer wants right now. Here are their pain points. Here's what I want you to know when we're focused on marketing content in the future. And then we also have part 5 here, which is iterative research and follow-up, which essentially starts to turn this playbook into a cycle that says, cool, we started out, we got the information we needed, we took action, which means now we need a new set of information. Start at the beginning. We got the information we needed, we took action, now we need a new set of information. And so this playbook ends up being a 5-part playbook that shows you exactly how to be able to continue to use deep research, not only as getting that information, but genuinely applying it to your business and building on top of it all the time. If you want some AI consulting, I'm more than happy to talk with you. And then I'll link some of the playbooks in that email as well, so you can take a look and see if they're interesting to you based on your specific business goals. So if you have any questions, let me know. Happy to answer them. And if not, feel free to come up and chat afterwards. I'm happy to chat AI all day long. Thank you, guys.